On today's show, we have a major injury update from Marlon Humphrey. That's one, frankly, I don't think anybody else is giving you. And that's why you subscribe, and that's why you watch. And then number two, we've got some roster moves made by your Baltimore Ravens. We'll get all into that very shortly. Before we do, we have another sub-battle on our hands. This one with the Commanders report. And after what, 2 days? It's a tight one. We're up, though. 26-25. Let's extend our lead. Let's bury them in the dirt. And let's show them who really runs the DMV. So if you haven't subscribed, help us win this sub-battle. Go to youtube.com/RavensTV or just go and hit that subscribe button right now. All right, we start with this tweet. This was put out by Brian YACOE on Sunday. This is 4:51 p.m., so right after the game was over. Brian YACOE tweeted, #Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey declined to speak to reporters after today's game. He also had a walking boot on his left foot. And then obviously, when Coach Harbaugh spoke to the media yesterday, he was asked about it. This is what he had to say. He said, "I just think these games, man, these are physical, tough games. We're on the turf and all that, so I don't want to make any promises, but I think we're in good shape." Well, I knew I wanted to talk about this today, so I wasn't getting much updates. But I knew Marlon Humphrey was a guy who, he's pretty active on social media, so I was like, let me just go ahead and go to his Instagram. So I did, clicked on his stories, and saw this one. And at first glance, nothing crazy, right? He's shouting out some vitamins he's taking. Always good to be healthy. Always good to take your vitamins. I haven't taken them since there was like the Fred Flintstone ones that kind of tasted like chalk. But good for him. That's why I'm not an NFL player. But then I zoomed in a little bit more and I saw something interesting. No walking boot. 2 pairs of tennis shoes. Unless walking boots have started to look a lot like white sneakers, it looks to me that 2 days later, Marlon Humphrey might be just fine. Now, I know that this doesn't mean he's 100% going to go, and I know that this doesn't mean that, like, he's not going to have any nagging or lagging injuries throughout the rest of the season or even throughout the rest of this week. I also know this means that the boot isn't thrown away and he's just out of it for good. But in my opinion, it's good to see that just 2 days later after a game where he had to wear a boot after it, that at least part of the day, he's not in it. I don't know. Sounds like good news to me. I want you guys to make the call for me. I got a question for you. Was my investigative journalism good enough to convince you that he will be playing on Sunday? Do you think Marlon Humphrey plays on Sunday against the Commanders? If you think yes, go ahead and type Y. If you think no, go ahead and type in. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. Scroll down the comment section. Make that time go by faster by giving me a Y or an N. This is big, guys. This is big, and it's good news that he's playing well because despite how poorly this secondary has been playing, Humphrey's had a pretty good season, okay? Graded overall by PFF is 68.9. His run defense is at a 70. His tackling is at an 81, a coverage grade of 70.4, and he ranks 32nd out of 101 corners in the NFL. And this pass defense as a whole, it's atrocious, guys. So losing a guy like Humphrey, it's a big deal. And I know that it's been really bad. I've seen a lot on Twitter. I've seen a lot on social media saying, okay, we need to get some backups in there. We need to get these guys cans. Guys, everybody wants the backups in until the backups actually go in and everybody sees why they're backups. So yes, this pass defense has not been great so far this year. But if you lose Humphrey, that's a big loss. Because even with him, 31st in yards per game this pass defense is. 6.9 yards per play, that's 27th in the NFL. Pass percentage of 67.2, 31st in the NFL. Yards after catch, letting up 726 yards, that's 31st. And yards after catch over expected are 161 yards, that's 31st as well. And I know this pass defense is struggling. I know it just as much as you guys know it. I watch all the games as well. I watch them with most of you guys. And people have had problems with Humphrey this year. But if you take him away, this defense is worse. Plain and simple. You take him out of the game, this pass defense gets worse than it already does. And he had a key interception in Sunday's game. I think we're just forgetting that, right? He doesn't pick that ball off. Like, you probably don't win that game. And I know a lot had to happen for you to win that game. Unfortunately, a lot happened for you to win that game. But let's just not forget that Marlon Humphrey's interception wasn't a part of that or was a part of that, okay? And so, do I think that this pass defense is good with him in it? No, I don't. They're struggling a lot. But do I think it'd be worse with him out of it? Yes, I do. So coming up, we got some roster news for you guys because it wasn't just an injury update with Marlon Humphrey. We also have some roster news happening in the secondary as well. But before we get to any of that, I got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, and that, of course, is Game Time. If you want to check out Marlon Humphrey play or not play on Sunday against the Commanders, I suggest that you use Game Time to do so. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. If you're excited the season's finally here and in full swing and want to get tickets to the big game lockdown, I suggest that you give Game Time a shot. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters up the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals, which are the highest value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time Picks also identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. Guys, we got another home game on Sunday, and I could not be more excited to watch it on YouTube with all of you guys. But if you're not going to be hanging out with us on YouTube, then you better be going to the game. And if you go to the game, you better be using Game Time. They offer last-minute tickets and flash deals. You get to see the views from your seat. You get the lowest price guaranteed. And if you use the code ChatSports, you get $20 off your first purchase. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account or redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. This tweet coming from Jeff Zrebeck of The Athletic as of just about an hour ago. Ravens re-signed cornerback Damarion Williams to their practice spot. He fills the spot vacated when cornerback Kadar Holman signed with the Texans' active roster earlier today. So, that sounds like at least news to me, right? You get Pepe Williams back in here because Kadar Holman got signed to the Texans roster today. And let's be honest, though, guys. He showed flashes in preseason. There were times, especially after that first game against the Eagles, where a lot of people, myself included, were saying, man, Pepe Williams might make a run for this roster. But the way that he finished out his preseason, the inconsistency that he showed, it was pretty bad. Against the Eagles, his overall PFF grade was 67.1. He got an 82.3 tackling grade, but a coverage grade of 60.6. Against the Falcons, overall 55.7. Tackling of 34.2. A coverage grade of 53.2. And then against the Packers, overall grade of 65.9. Tackling of 32.8. Disgusting. And a coverage grade of 61.6. And guys, this kind of ties in to what I was talking about the Marlon Humphrey situation. These are the backups, right? Now, I know he's on the practice squad. He's not on the active roster, but he is part of the backups in a whole. And that's a guy going out there and getting a 30 tackling grade against second-string receivers, against receivers that didn't even make the roster. Those are the guys that you're calling to start for Marlon Humphrey just because maybe he struggled in a game or two. Okay? Awesome that Pepe Williams is back on the practice squad. Do I think it affects his team a lot? Not really. I really don't. What's your one-word reaction to Pepe getting signed to the practice squad? Let me know. Is it underwhelming? Is it yay? Is it exciting? I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, let me know in the comment section down below. All right, it is time for our AFC North recap. It's Tuesday. Let's tell you everything that happened with the AFC North this past weekend. And I got to tell you this. It was a big weekend for the Ravens in the AFC North because the Steelers lost to the Cowboys by a score of 20-17. The Browns lost to the Commanders by a score of 34-13. And Deshaun Watson basically looks like he's giving up. And the Bengals, of course, wait, what happened in that game? Oh, yeah. They lost to the Ravens by a score of 41-38. So if we look at the standings, your Baltimore Ravens are now on top with a 3-2 record, number one in the division. Steelers are number two. They're at 3-2 as well. The Browns are number 3 at 1-4. Bengals are number 3 at 1-4 as well. And I got some good news, at least for us, not for them. about those two 1-4 teams at the bottom of the division that going back to 1970, so when my dad was 2 years old, 253 teams have opened the season at 1-4, and only 15 of those have ended up making the postseason. That is 5.92%. So history tells us there's a good chance that this fight is just between the Steelers and between the Ravens, and we all know that's how we like it. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. If you're still here, if you're still watching, if you enjoyed today's show, go ahead, hit that subscribe button because it's not just helping me out, but it's destroying the Commanders, which, of course, we're going to do on Sunday as well. So thanks for tuning in. You guys have a fantastic Tuesday.